Not all coins are what they seem. Some were spent without a second thought, yet they're worth thousands, even millions today, hidden in drawers, jars, and pockets, are pieces of history waiting to be discovered. At Rare Coins, we uncover the real value, the truth behind the hype, and the coins collectors would do anything to own. Welcome to Rare Coins. Real value, real history, no hype. They say this is the penny that could buy you a car, pay your rent for a year, or even put a down payment on a house, and some posts claim any 1970s penny is instantly worth thousands. But here's the truth, and it's actually more fascinating than the rumors. The 1970s small date Lincoln Memorial cent is one of those modern era coins that can stop collectors in their tracks. The S tells us it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, and 1970 was a year when something subtle, but incredibly important, happened. Most 1970s pennies are what we call large date. The numbers in the date are tall and bold, with the 7 curving low and the top of the 9 sitting higher than the 7. The small date variety, on the other hand, has a delicate, more compact look. The 7 sits level with the 0, and the 9 is slimmer and slightly lower. To an untrained eye, it's barely noticeable, but to collectors, that difference is the key to a serious payday. Here's where the suspense builds. In uncirculated condition, these coins can sell for far more than face value, and if you find the right one, you could be looking at a life-changing figure. The rarest of them all is the 1970s small date doubled. Die obverse, and a coin where the lettering and date show extremely strong doubling you can see without magnification. This isn't your average minting flaw. It's dramatic, and it's the reason one of these coins, graded MS64 red by PCGS, sold for over $24,000 at heritage auctions. And that's not a rumor, it's public record. Why did this happen? In 1970, master hubs were still created by hand, and sometimes doubling occurred when a die received more than one impression, slightly misaligned. Most doubled dies are caught before mass production, but in this case, a few slipped through, and that's why today they're so coveted. So how can you tell if you've got a 1970s small date? Look closely at the date alignment and the word Liberty on the small date. The letters are sharper and a bit weaker in strike compared to the large date. Coin loop or digital zoom camera can help. Condition is everything here. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A circulated 1970s small date might only bring a few dollars, but a gem red example in MS67 can bring hundreds, and with the doubled die, thousands. Even proof strikes exist. Since the San Francisco Mint made proof coins in 1970, and some proofs have the small date as well. Where should you look? Anywhere coins hide for decades, old change jars, coin albums inherited from relatives, boxes in the attic, or even circulation if you're lucky. Remember, many of these coins have been sitting untouched for 50 years. If you find one, here's the golden rule: do not clean it. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and slashes value instantly. Place it in a Mylar flip or an airtight holder. Then check sold listings on auction sites. But more importantly, compare your coin against PCGS or NGC certified examples. If it matches, consider submitting it for professional grading. When selling, avoid quick cash buyers who undervalue coins. Heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections are reputable choices. A properly marketed coin can bring far more than a rushed sale. The 1970s small date Lincoln Memorial penny is living proof that small details can mean big money. If you know what to look for, and you're willing to check every S penny you find, you might just hold a coin worth far more than 1 cent. At Rare Coins, we cut through the hype and bring you real, verified knowledge. If you're serious about coins, as a collector, investor, buyer, or seller, subscribe now. We're just getting started. And the next coin we cover might be hiding in your pocket change right now. They say some 1970 pennies are worth thousands. And for once, that's not entirely hype. You might have heard whispers about a Shimmerson Sputtus Lincoln cent with something unusual in the date, and collectors willing to pay serious money for it. It's true, but not every shiny penny from 1970 is going to change your life. This one's a special variety, and knowing how to spot it can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth hundreds, even thousands. The year was 1970. The United States was deep in the space race. The Vietnam War was still in the headlines, and at the San Francisco Mint, proof Lincoln cents were being struck with remarkable detail. But somewhere in the process, a die originally prepared with a small date design was altered, overpunched and with a large date design. The result is the variety we now call the 1970s large date over small date. And because proof dies were used, every coin with this error has the sharp, mirrored finish proof collectors love. Let's be clear, this is not the same as the regular 1970s large date or the regular 1970s small date. This is an overdate, a large date literally sitting on top of remnants of a small date. You'll need a magnifying glass to spot it. Look closely at the 7. Sometimes you'll see faint impressions from the earlier, small date version peeking around its edges. The 0 can also show traces from the underlying date. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it becomes unmistakable. So why is this variety valuable? First, it's scarce. Only a small number of proof dies showed this overdate before they were pulled. Second, it's visually fascinating for collectors. A tangible mistake from a time when everything was done by hand and precision meant human hands guiding machines. And third, it's part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which already has a passionate following. The truth about prices? High-grade certified examples can and do sell for thousands of dollars. Coins graded PR69 Deep Cameo, nearly flawless, have brought serious bids at Heritage, auctions, and Stack's Bowers. Even PR67 and PR68 coins can command hundreds. But there's a catch. Condition matters immensely. A coin with hairlines, spots, or hazing won't bring top dollar. And if the overdate isn't clear, the value drops fast. If you think you might have one, don't clean it. Proof coins are especially easy to damage, and one light wipe can turn mirrors into dull, scratched surfaces. Instead, keep it in its original mint packaging if possible, or store it in an inert holder. The next step is getting it certified by PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm it's genuine, assign a grade, and note the variety on the holder. Finding one in the wild? You're not going to stumble across this and change. These were proof coins sold directly to collectors in 1970, so your best bet is looking through old proof sets. Maybe your parents or grandparents bought them from the mint and tucked them away in a drawer. Estate sales, flea markets, and coin shows are also worth checking. Most people don't take the time to check for the overdate, so you could get lucky if you know what to look for. When it comes time to sell, variety collectors are your audience. The best exposure is through major auctions like Heritage, Great Collections, or even eBay if the coin is certified. Avoid raw sales unless the buyer can inspect it in person. Fakes and altered coins exist, and serious buyers will want that certification before paying big money. This coin is a perfect example of why knowledge in coin collecting is power. Most people would pass right over it, assuming it's just another proof penny. But the trained eye knows better. The 1970s large date over small date is a piece of minting history, a reminder that even in a world of machines, human error can slip through, creating treasures for those sharp enough to spot them. And if you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about knowing what actually matters, rare coin collecting is made for you. No hype, no clickbait, just the truth behind the coins that matter. You've probably seen the viral posts. This 1971 penny could be worth thousands of dollars. Some even claim a single coin from 1971D can buy you a car. But is that true? Well, yes and no. The truth is, most 1971D pennies are worth a single cent, but there's a rare variety, the doubled, die obverse, that has made its way into serious auctions and stunned even veteran coin collectors. And if you know what to look for, there's a chance you could find one sitting in a jar at home. Now, before we dig into the doubling, let's talk about where this coin comes from. The Denver Mint in 1971 was pumping out Lincoln Memorial cents at record speed. Over 2.9 billion coins that year. That's billion with a B. These were standard copper alloy cents, 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, with the familiar Lincoln bust on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. And because production was so high, Quality control slipped at times, which gave us this doubled die. So what exactly is a doubled die obverse? It's not damage and it's not from the coin being struck twice. This error happens when the working die itself, the stamp that strikes the coin, gets impressed twice by the master hub, but in slightly different positions. That creates a doubled image on every coin that die produces. And the 1971 DDO shows that doubling most noticeably in the date, especially the ones, as well as in the motto, "In God We Trust," and sometimes in Liberty. If you have a loop or magnifier, check those letters. On a true doubled die, the doubled lines are rounded and look like a second impression, almost like the date is wearing a ghostly shadow that's as tall as the original. Machine doubling, which is worthless, looks flat and shelf-like, with the extra metal kind of smeared to the side. That's the #1 way new collectors get tricked. Now here's where things get exciting. The most valuable 1971 DDOs are in mint state condition with blazing original red color, and the auction records prove it. In a heritage auction sale, a stunning MS-65 red example sold for over $2,500, and others have crossed the $1,000 mark, when the doubling was crisp and the coin surfaces were immaculate. Even in circulated condition, you can see these sell for $50 to $150 if the doubling is bold. Imagine that. A penny you might ignore in your change could be worth dinner for two, or even rent money. And the kicker? The Denver Mint produced more than one doubled die that year. There are at least 2 recognized DDO varieties for the 1971 D, with varying strength of doubling. The stronger one is the real prize. Where can you find one? Anywhere small change has been sitting for decades. Look in old coffee cans, coin jars, your grandparents' dresser drawers, the box in the basement that's been collecting dust since the 1980s. Even rolls from the bank can still yield surprises, although searching takes patience. If you do find one, here's the golden rule: do not clean it. Cleaning coins, even with soap and water, can instantly cut the value in half or worse. Collectors want original surfaces. If your coin looks valuable, protect it in a 2x2 cardboard flip or an airtight capsule, then send it to a professional grading service, like PCGS or NGC. If it comes back MS-65 or higher, you've got something that can do real damage at auction. When it comes time to sell, you've got options. eBay is an easy route if you have great photos and an honest description, but for the top prices, you'll want to go with an auction house like Heritage Auctions or Great Collections, where serious collectors bid aggressively. Coin shows and reputable dealers can also be good, especially if you need faster cash, but they'll take a margin. So know your coin's worth before negotiating. The bottom line? The 1971 DDO is a perfect example of how knowledge turns pocket change into treasure. 99% of 1971 pennies will buy you nothing more than gum, but that 1%, the doubled dies, can turn a 1-cent coin into a multi-$100 or even $1,000 payday, and the thrill of spotting one never gets old. At Rare Coins, our mission is simple: give you the truth behind the coins that matter. No hype, no clickbait, just real numismatic knowledge. If you're a serious collector, investor, seller, or buyer, subscribe now. We're just getting started, and the next coin we cover could be sitting in your pocket right now.